When I can, when I can, when I can, me that, when I can, when I can, when I can, me that, when I can, when I can, when I can. Me that, when I can, when I can, when I can, me that, when I can, when I can, when I can, me that,
Yeah,
when I can,
let's do it.
when I can.
Okay.
When I can, me that, when I can, when I can.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for tuning in again to Good News. I'm Josh Johnson, here to bring you the good news. And I want to start off by saying first, not just thank you for joining the chat, but thank you for coming to see me on tour. I've been getting to meet some of you over the past few months, and every show has been a blessing. Every show has been such a fun time, and I genuinely appreciate every single one of you that come out. I love to do a meet and greet, to meet you afterwards, to say thank you in person. Know that if I do not do a meet and greet, it is because we absolutely could not, but I always strive to whenever I can, and I'm so thankful to you for showing up, telling a friend. Everything has been changing in the past few months, and it is all thanks to you. If you are looking to come to any tour dates, they are on my website at joshjohnsonComedy.com, and I'm going to be in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm going to be in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Albany, Buffalo. I'll really go anywhere. I'll really, some people are like, no, you're not coming here yet. Believe me, I'm working on it. I'm trying to travel as much as possible, and I am very available. So I'm on the way, even though I'm not there yet. Thank you so much for letting me know where you're coming in from, as from the chat, but also let me know where you want me to go. I do look at the chat, and I do keep up with it as best as I can while delivering you this good news. I think we just get into it. I saw this story, and it threw me for a loop. It is mysterious bass sounds irking Florida residents might just be fish mating loudly. So when I saw the headline initially, I was like, that's just a lot of words. They don't even go together. And then I read it, and out of all of the noise complaints that you could have in Florida, this one's not that bad. You know, I have a lot of friends from Florida, and usually when they call the police, it is dire because they also don't want the police there. So the police are the last resort. And in this scenario, we're out here calling people, filing noise complaints and everything. It is hard to file a noise complaint against nature because it is just fighting outside. But I think that for the most part, the fish getting it is maybe what the fish need, you know, because this is what we've done as a people. We've developed corporations, we've developed pollution, and most of the times we killing the fish. Most of the times we are out here murking them, and they really don't see it coming. You know, you watch your little Finding Nemos, you watch your Free Willies and everything, but they never really show the company that's just dumping sludge into the river, ocean, pond, lake that these beautiful creatures live in. And so the fact that they were, one, at peace, and two, able to truly get it, like get after it, you know? I didn't even know fish made noises. That's how little I know about nature. I thought the fish could only go bloop. Like, I also, this is really dumb. I've this is like embarrassing to admit, actually, but I don't, because I never thought about where fish come from. I never thought about why we had more fish. I would just see the fish swimming in the water and assume that fish were always there. but I never really thought about fish mating at all. Like I thought maybe fish kiss because they stay with lips ready, right? But as far as like actually, I don't know how any of it works. And I guess I didn't like, what sound is that? Like what, like, because I'm sure if I heard it, I'd be freaked out. I'm not judging the people who are bothered, you know, because I think first I would hear it and then I'd be like, that's got to be guarding the gates of hell. And then I would go outside and there'd be nothing, nobody. So I'd be like, okay, a person is not making this sound. Is it a ghost? Because I'm not like a big ghost guy. Like I don't just jump to ghost conclusions immediately. But if noise is coming from the water and you don't think it's coming from the water and you don't see anything on land, you're like, maybe, right? And then I look at the water and I don't know fish positions, but whatever one fish is doing to the other, they are doing that. That's happening. One fish is laying it down on the other fish. I don't know. Once again, I'm describing a thing I don't really understand because, okay, even Bianca Adams goes bloop, bloop. And I do think that sounds like fish gang signs. Yeah, like that to me doesn't quite sound like the mating call. That more sounds like we about to have it out, you know, like bloop, bloop. I do think that maybe I've led myself down a path because I'm reading some of the chat now. And it does seem like no one knows, which I'm thankful for. Yeah, I don't think anybody knows. And at least we're finding out together, you know? Science is always coming to us with these discoveries, answering questions that nobody asked. Let's get on this. What sounds are the good sounds and what sounds are the you need to work something out sounds? Do you know what I mean? I'm speaking in a little bit of code because I don't know what the rules are for live and I don't want to get kicked off. But like, you know the sounds you make when you're like, that is right. That is it. Do that. I wonder what that is for fish. And what are the sounds where it's like, I should have picked somebody else back at the fish club. Like back when we were all swimming together and we were picking each other, I should have picked this other fish because this one is not doing it, you know? I do think, okay, here's the thing. We should be happy for them. And I mean this sincerely. We should be happy for every fish that is out there, every animal, any animal on this earth that is in one space facing extinction and in the other space getting piped. Obviously, one is better than the other, and we should want the best possible outcome for our fishy friends. All right. So if you're one of those people that's out there, now that you know what it is, now that you know it's the fish mating loudly and everything, don't complain. Be thankful. You know, why don't you get busy figuring out how you can make your life as good as that fish rather than trying to make the fish's life worse, rather than trying to stick a stick in the water and breaking them up. Because I think that's how you'd have to do it. You have to really just put a stick in the water, be like, stop it. Both of you, cut it out. Right. I do think that maybe this is the best possible outcome because most distress calls, most noise complaints in Florida is usually somebody like really. It's almost always sad. Do you know what I mean? Like anytime I've heard of people having to, you know, get any sort of emergency service or police involved in Florida, there's been a lot of energy. Let's say a lot of there's been a lot of action. And all of it is fuel for the show Cops. Some of it is meth related. Like Florida gets a really, really, really bad meth reputation because of that bath salts thing. But that's not the only state. Don't put that all on them. I don't like when people do that. I don't like when everybody is doing something and then we point at just one group, one state, or one person like they're the only one doing it, you know? All of America is pretty methy. We're all getting to a point where we can recognize it when it when it appears on the streets. Not the drug itself, but just the behavior, Next up, we have Dairy Queen employees among 10 arrested in Texas meth ring sting. Now, when I saw this story, I did think to myself, you either got to eat a lot of Dairy Queen or do a lot of meth to know that the two have mixed together. That's you really know your Dairy Queen if you're like, something is different, because I don't have a lot of Dairy Queen, but I can tell you right now, if you slipped a little bit of meth into my Dairy Queen, I think I'd just be like, this vanilla is itchy. That's the only thing I'd have for you. I wouldn't know why it was happening. I wouldn't know what was happening. I also don't know how to do meth and don't want to find out. So maybe you can just eat it. Who knows? Maybe you could sprinkle some on the burger and then have a very particular high. So let me see. I'll actually go to the story this time because I want to make sure I get some of this stuff right. The people allegedly sold meth at the restaurant and Clifton locations. Okay, so that's also a brilliant and confusing strategy for trying to sell drug paraphernalia, because you got people in the drive-thru, right? And let's say it's rush hour, is lunchtime, and you getting slammed. Okay, people give the wrong order all the time. Imagine if you go to get your Dairy Queen order and it's just is not only the wrong order, but there's a little baggie in there with something real hard that really burns your nose when you sniff it. What do you do in that scenario? Because now the person at the drive-thru, it looks like they're the one in on it, but it could have been the person handing them the fries. It's very hard to tell. Police are calling the arrest of nearly a dozen people Operation Blizzard. I see what you did there, police. I see you try to get creative. You try to be cute. Operation Blizzard, after they discovered people were selling more than just the frozen treats at a Dairy Queen in Clifton, Texas. The Clifton Police Department arrested 10 in connection with selling methamphetamine around multiple locations in the town, including the Dairy Queen where several of the people worked, according to a news release posted to Facebook by CPD. I'm reading from mysanantonio.com, and they're reporting from Facebook. So we're all just really at a loop right now. Like I've never claimed to be a substantial news source, but when I was like, I've never claimed to have the news first. But yes, I'm glad that I can read an article from a Facebook post from, I guess, the police. Maybe the Facebook post is quoting somebody who quoted the police. Local law enforcement had investigated the case since June 2023. That's the other difficult thing about crime. I'm watching Griselda on Netflix right now, and it's taken, I think it's a great show, but it really shows, and this article as well really shows how the police can know that crime is happening, but then they need so much proof that they really got to wait for you to do a lot of crime. You really got to bank your crime to go ahead and get caught, because June of 2023, that's a long time ago. That's like, I'm not going to do the math in front of you, but that's half the year. That's quite a lot, Police set up undercover purchases and learned the methamphetamine was also being sold around other locations in the city. This is the other thing, too. When you feel like you got a really, really good operation going, you do let yourself and your employees and your, colleagues get really sloppy, Because sometimes I watch a lot of like court TV. I'll watch some of the undercover cop videos and stuff like that. And it's crazy how sometimes in a sting like this, they will just tell everything. They will just low key be like, oh, yeah, Dairy Queen is nice, but this selling meth stuff is really going to be my ticket out. Right. And it'll be on a wire that the cop is wearing. And you're like, why would they be that explicit? Like, oh, yeah, I love selling meth on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are the best day to sell meth. I don't know why they just come out of the woods and they come to get my meth on Wednesdays, especially in April. A Wednesday in April is the best day to sell meth of the year. And then you'll be like, of course you got caught, So yeah, the police jam people up all the time, but sometimes they really hand it to them, you know? Sometimes the case comes to you on a silver platter with a blizzard. Police set up undercover purchases and learned that methamphetamine was also being sold around other locations in the city. On January 16th, maybe a Wednesday, police obtained a search warrant for area apartments where 2 people were arrested and found with methamphetamine and drug paraphernalia. The arrest led to police arresting more people via search warrants at various addresses in Clifton, ending with a total of 10 people on January 26th. So this is my other thing. Don't go into this line of work, you know? And I'm not talking about Dairy Queen. Don't go into selling drugs, because you also cannot trust the people that you are working with to be reliable, you know, to be loyal. There are a lot of other situations where somebody is like, man, I can't believe this person snitched on them. And it's like, yes, I know that when we're watching the movie, it looks like horrible because y'all all did this together, and now you're flipping and turning state's evidence on your friend that you started this with. Maybe it was your idea and you turned state evidence first. But also, you gotta look at what people are facing. You know, somebody will be sitting there and they're like, I'm gonna put you away for 7 years, or you could do 2 days. And then people just panic. You know, I've watched a lot of First 48. I see them sweating in there. I'm not saying I'd be able to do better than they do, because, you know, the camera edits don't do them justice for how long it might take them to crack. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, if I was one of these people working at Dairy Queen, and then somebody came and they got us, and then it took everybody like 90 hours to crack on me, I'd be like, I kind of get it. 90 hours. How many days is that? Once again, I'm not going to do the math in front of you, but think to yourself, how many days is that? If you don't know off the top of your head, I don't think you last. I think you might snitch after it felt like a day, you know? So just, if you're working at Dairy Queen, just flip it, make sure it's stick, and then hand it. Nothing extra. No side hustles at the Dairy Queen, right? Either in or out, you know? Stick to a lifestyle that you can look at the end of your shift and be like, man, I'm not going to jail today. And that is hard to do at some Dairy Queens, because there are some people at Dairy Queens that do throw hands. I have seen quite a few fights at a Dairy Queen, and they're not like, there's no lead up. Sometimes you will be watching a video on Twitter of people fighting at like a Waffle House or a Dairy Queen, and everyone's like, I wonder what led to this. Sometimes nothing. Sometimes it was just the vibe, right? Like they ordered, and then they paid, and then the cashier was looking at them, and they were looking at the cashier, and then one of them just hops the counter, and it's on, and the camera phones come out, and wow, what an old thing to say. I said camera phone. That's crazy. Every once in a while you betray yourself. Like, because I'm from a time where not every camera had a phone and every phone didn't have a camera. Like, they weren't always this synonymous thing. And I just said camera phone. Man, I'd be a terrible, like, 21 Jump Street, whatever that is. Like, I'd do horrible. I'd be like, what's up, kids? Everybody got their camera phones out. Gonna record some crimes together. So, moving on. Pizza Hut location goes viral after closing for unforeseen circumcisions. Now, this went viral. I think you've already seen it probably, and it was one of the ones where I saw it, and it you know, it's funny on first glance because they definitely meant circumstances, and this is why English class is important. Okay, because it's misunderstandings like this on a job application that will stop you from getting the job, that will stand in your way of you elevating your career. All right, because then they wanted to blame autocorrect. And look, I get it. Autocorrect does do stuff like that. Sometimes I will be typing into my phone. I called it typing instead of texting. I'm doing some like old man stuff today. I called it typing, and it's, oh, I might have to end early. It must be past my bedtime. That's crazy. I cannot believe I did that. Anyway, I'll be texted. I'll get like 2 letters in, and then my phone will be like, "You mean pharmaceuticals, right?" And I'm like, "I just typed P and H. I've not actually even given you an inkling of what I might be talking about." And I know they're trying to pull context clues, and I know they're using AI now to try to, guess everything. So you only have to hit one letter and then it knows your whole message, and you don't have to think so much, so you don't have to send so much. So then we really stop communicating with each other, and we fall into a deeper and more present dystopia than we are currently at now. Seems like the plan. Said all that to say that it is kind of funny. I'm from a time, this is also dating me. I'm from a time, remember T9? Tell me in the chat if you remember T9. So I'm from a time where you would type a letter into your phone, and you had to be specific, because I'm talking about the old phones that had 3 letters per number. Okay, if you are under the age of 18 right now, I probably just sound poor. I probably just sound like back in my day, we couldn't afford all the letters, right? But that is what happened. You had to go by the letters that were on the number you were pressing, and then you had to text that way. And it would maybe guess the next letter, but it would never be able to guess the entire word. And if you got good enough, you could be going like 6 3 3 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 9, and then it would be guessing a little bit along the way with you. And that was how some people text quickly back in the day. Everyone else was just, the way we do it now, just pure spelling, some abbreviations. I did go to a dark place for a second. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to act like I didn't. Here's the thing. Sometimes I'm doing the live, and then I'll say a thing that I know I'll probably like chew on more and turn into a bit later. So I don't want to hit you twice, if that makes sense. So I'll say something. I'll be like, actually, let me save the rest of that, because I think that could be a good joke later. And that is why sometimes I might seem insane, because I will stop and be like, let me stop myself, because I'll talk about it more, and I don't want people being like, "Oh, we heard it already. You're from before," Yes. Okay. T9 and Snake. See, I got people in the chat that remember I text faster than T9 anyway. Yes. Some of us did. Some of us were like, "Get this out of my way. It's not helping me." You see, I started swiping to text, and that's been a mistake since day one. How do you swipe to text? I cannot figure it out, because I'll see my friends do it, and they'll be like swishing. They'll swish. It'll be like watching. It feels like watching people sink free throws with their fingers, because their text is just coming together so elegantly, and they're swooshing all over the little keyboard. And then I try to do it, and it'll say spam. Like it doesn't do what I want it to do at all. It's very frustrating. Anyway. These people said circumcision instead of circumstances. Everyone poked fun at it. They also poke fun at it. But it did. This is the thing. Not only did it go viral, I think it did distract from the main issue. Why was that Pizza Hut closed? You know what I mean? Did something nasty happen? Because if something nasty happened, we need to stop laughing and start investigating. Okay? Because I was truly distraught when I was like, yeah, but why did it close? They didn't say. They were just like, sorry for the inconvenience, which they somehow spelled correctly. All right, let's see. I had to skip ahead for a second. I'm actually going to go back, because I had planned to give you this story next after the Dairy Queen, but in my mind, it would flow better to go from Dairy Queen to Pizza Hut. I like to keep you involved in the process. A dentist's adorable dog snuggles up to calm down anxious patients at the dentist's office. Now, this is it. This is it. Every dentist should be doing this, all right? And if you're not a dog person, get a cat. If you're not a cat or dog person, get a bird, all right? If you're not a cat, dog, or bird person, get like a salamander. If you hate those two, then I don't know how to help you. Maybe you deserve to be at the dentist. Maybe this is your speed, is just to hear the whirring of metal. But this might be one of the few good dentists in America to even have this idea, you know? Like nothing warms my heart like a puppy. Nothing takes away pain like a puppy. When a puppy rests its chin on you, when it goes ahead and docks on your leg or your foot or your arm or your hand or something, there's nothing. Your heart is ready to explode. They might need to get a cardiologist in there with the dentist. But then, you know, I think a lot of the attention in this story is on the people that are being seen that have the anxiousness. A lot of attention is on the dentist for doing this sort of program. I think that the most attention should go to the dog. Because if you think that you are grossed out and terrified of the noises that dentist machinery makes, imagine being a dog. Imagine being a dog that can hear super well. Like that you can hear ridiculously well, right? You hear at registers that don't even hit the human ear, right? And you hear, that's upsetting. Every single thing, that's the bravest dog in America, because every single thing in a dentist's office sounds like a vacuum cleaner. I don't know about you, but when my dog hears a vacuum cleaner, it's like, guys, I'm out. If this is what's attacking y'all, it can have y'all. My dog is very aware. If my dog thinks a person is coming, he'll get on his little, he's too little to really like fight somebody off, but he'll get on his little stance and he'll bunch up. He'll like, you know, like he'll get ready. If it's a vacuum though, he's like, I'm out. Y'all don't pay me enough kibbles for this. You know, I'm blown away that this isn't happening in some form in every dentist office at America. The first encounter with a dentist that you have as a kid is sometimes, like, I'm not trying to be too dramatic and say it's traumatic, but I just think that a lot of it is like, you already don't, if you're a kid, you already don't know most places. Most places you get taken to as a kid is for the first time. You've never been there before. And so then there's a place that you go that they try to trick you. They make a big like tooth whose name is Toofy. And he's like a little mascot, and he walks around like a Disney character saying hello to the kids in the waiting room, trying to make sure that they're not scared when they go in and everything. And then you get like a dentist who's walks out and meets you in the waiting room beforehand, and he's all sweet and like dabbing up your parents and everything, asking you how many times you brush your teeth. You just answering honestly because you've never known this person before. You don't know you need to lie, right? So he's like, how often do you brush your teeth? Like every single night, every single morning, in between every meal, right? Then they bring you back there. And even when they bring you back there, the dentist chair when you're a kid is like some type of fun chair sometimes. They don't strap you down. They don't treat it like they're about to treat it, right? And so then you're sitting in whatever tooth cloud they made, and then the work starts. And when the work starts, you're terrified because somebody is playing up in your mouth with metal that sounds like you at the mechanic. And you know what it is? When I go to the dentist, I feel like how a car must feel like when you lift it up at the mechanic shop and you got all that whirring going under it. Like, that's how it feels, but from a POV setting. Like if you are a car from Cars, you probably hate going to the mechanic as much as I hate going to the dentist. I also want to check the chat real quick to see if I've lost all of you. I want to make sure that y'all are with me on at least some of what I am saying. Okay, Cool Smiles is legit fun. They have a room with video games and toys. Yes, that's true. There are some doctor's offices and some dentist offices that have video games in the waiting room. Not the dentist sounds. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I know what I'm like. I wish they could make the drill a Spotify playlist. That would actually be, that's what dentists should do. There should be a beat. If you're going to be in my mouth, you got to make music. Okay? If you're going to be it needs to be like that needs to be what you do. Not just these random And the sucking sounds too, the vacuum. I can't believe the dog is there for it. That's a brave dog. Yes, I also hate the dentist, Willow. Thank you. Thank you for the validation. All right. And so I want to move on because we don't have too much more time together. I want to move on to a deer that Kool-Aid manned into a Texas home and spent the night. So once again, just to get the full context and clarity, I will read this one to you. Be patient with me. But it comes to us from UPI.com, and it it says authorities in Texas respond to a home where a deer crashed in through a window and spent the night inside. Courtney Hawk said she returned to her spring home after spending the night at her boyfriend's house and found a deer in her kitchen. Spring home. Okay. I think that the place, I'm gonna check, but I think that the place is like spring as in the district of Spring. I don't think she just has a spring home. I've never heard that before. If she has a spring home, that's the richest person I've ever heard of. I've heard of summer houses. I've heard of like cabins for the winter and stuff. I've never heard of a spring home. So she came back to her spring home after spending the night at her boyfriend's house and found a deer in her kitchen. He just made himself an entrance. He Kool-Aid man right through my front window. Okay, is it really Kool-Aid manning if it's the window? The window is the most malleable part of the house, really. I think to be Kool-Aid man, you got to go through wall. You got to go through wall and you got to leave an imprint of what you look. It needs to be in your shape. It should have been a side deer buck shape through the wall if he was going to really Kool-Aid man. This sounds like he just jumped through a window. But I do want to know the circumstances of the deer being in the kitchen. Like, was the deer in the middle of eating something? Like, was the deer's head in the fridge? Or was the deer just standing here like, I've been trying to get out for quite a while? You know? I think there might have been some false advertising on this one. That's my bad, y'all. I'm going to retract it. I don't think that you can Kool-Aid man if you went through a window. That's just breaking a window. And it does look like y'all have heard of Spring, Texas. So I was right. Yes, he Jasoned it. Thank you, Kay. He Jasoned it. Y'all, I want to thank you so much for watching Good News this week. I'm going to do this stream as often as possible, at least once a week. And I appreciate you being here and rocking with me, checking in on me on Wednesdays. I'm also, once again, going to be on tour. Go to joshjohnsoncomedy.com for dates. I am going to be in Alabama. I'm going to be in Albany, Buffalo. I'm going to be in Grand Rapids. I'm going to be coming to Chicago eventually, Philadelphia as well. So let me know, message me, email me, text me where I should come next. I will come to you to give you a show. I want to thank you again for joining the live, and I'll see you soon.